Hey everyone, I don't know where this is going to go at all, but I had a thought last night about the swords in tarot. And, swords signify the mind, and when we pull swords, they're often the most conflicting and difficult cards to pull. We have the Two of Swords, which you're holding two heavy things with a blindfold on, and it's kind of, the card is Moon in Libra, and so it's giving away your decision making power because of having to accommodate other people for so long. Three of Swords, of course, heartbreak, contracts being broken, and grief. We love the Four of Swords. It's like I always do a shielding exercise. This is a tangent. I do a shielding exercise in the morning where Goddess Aset, I have her take a scarab beetle sword and put a green bubble around me for the day. So there's the four, the boundary, the mental protection. Five of Swords, of course, winning at all cost, ruptures in relationality. It's a Venus and Aquarius card, so we see the collective and the breaks in the web that can happen based on wanting to win over communication and harmony. Six of Swords, moving on from, say, it can be, they're traveling over water, and yes, they are on to better things. There's a transition to it, but there's still the swords in the back, where it's like what they've just been through is still hanging on so heavy. Seven of Swords, lying, not being truthful, deceit, strategy. Those two words can go together. Eight of Swords, self-sabotage, enslavement, not seeing a way out. It's like a house of mirrors, not seeing your way out. Nine of Swords, nightmares, anxiety. Ten of Swords, ego death. And that's like, that card's so visceral. We see the 10 swords in the back. So with all that being said, we see how violent the sword suit is. It has a sharp weapon, and it's based upon words and thoughts and lack of harmony within them, and like how powerful words can be in the domination that they can have over a person, a group of people, in a relationship. We see how we resort to internal and external violence when we feel the need to defend the thoughts in our head. And the thoughts in our head, for some reason, we feel like they have to be purified, and it just goes so much into like religion and just the narratives that are hammered into us from collective conditioning, and how the mind can be unsafe and it's unseen, so we must defend it at all costs. It's just really interesting, the unseen becoming the most violent because we don't know how to interact with the unseen, because it makes us uncomfortable because we don't know for sure about anything. So that's why we have to defend so much, and why we feel like we have to fight with ourselves to think correctly, to have the right thoughts, to communicate in a way with people where we're on the same page, and we have all healed ourselves in a way where we can have conversations where we don't get defensive, and our words don't become our thoughts don't become our identity, but a bridge to understanding. And for a long time, I pulled the Knight of Swords quite often, and it was just such mental racket. The Knight of Swords bursts through preconceived ideas of relating and communication. it's always expanding and wanting to be on the precipice of learning and communicating in a way that is new and also doesn't prescribe to patriarchal standards. And like even in class, like if you're going to school, it's like, it's just like you have like a very like an eloquent educational way of speaking, but just because you have those words doesn't really mean shit. Anyone can have a way of communicating to the collective that can impact, that doesn't have a dominating language, dialect, way of speaking. I hope this makes sense. And so when I would pull the Knight of Swords, I'd have days that were just like, it just felt like I was swatting flies off in my head, like, get the fuck away from me, you know? And it's because I was afraid of my thoughts and I felt like I couldn't control them. But it's never about controlling the thoughts, of course. It's about living with them and knowing your spiritual truth regardless and not being afraid. So I pulled the Knight of Swords last night. And, this week I felt a little bit more anxiety than normal, like in my body. Like my mind's just racing. I can't move fast enough. I'm running into things. I'm dropping things. I'm forgetting things. And I've been remediating that by, of course, slowing down and just like, putting crystals on my body, earth, And I read the Knight of Swords pages in Christopher Mamalejo's The Red Read, Red Tarot. And I had a different relationship with the Knight of Swords last night. I wasn't afraid of my thoughts. I wasn't trying to put them in a certain box and put them away. I wasn't trying to defend myself against them. I put down the sword and met it with presence, mindfulness, and compassion, which I think is the goal. I hope that made sense.